G'day guys, my name is Khoa, welcome to the Khoa Bui show, and today I've got a fantastic guest. His name is Sasha Karabut, and just a quick introduction on Sasha. He is the founder of Push Peak, and it's a personal development company. It's designed to help people achieve their true potential. He's done business in America, and he's also currently working with Jordan Belfort.
That's correct.
He's also bringing him to Australia as well, man,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. And he's also created a program called Push Peak Mentoring, which is all about uncovering your hidden potential. So welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, bro. Pleasure.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, we'll just get started with a bit of background questions, and then we'll get into the other questions as well for the standard stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a bit of background. I think you're working in like a construction type of job, and then you went into debt or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Of course. Yeah. So pretty much I was a teenage kind of boy, and I had these dreams and ambitions of like a great life that I had for myself, and I kind of just had this like inner knowingness, a sense of like narcissism almost, where I felt I was a bit above everyone else, and I kind of knew in my heart that like I was meant for a great life, and things would just work themselves out kind of, and I wouldn't need to. At that time, I just had this assumption, like, you know, I wouldn't need to work too hard, and I just had this like knowingness that it was just around the corner. It was coming for me, you know, and it was expected, you know, and I didn't need to put any work in. So naturally, I didn't do any work. I didn't do any extra effort. I didn't put in any extra work on the projects or the jobs I had at the time. I'm currently working in a construction job in Brisbane, actually.
Okay.
That's where I started, and yeah, so with that kind of mindset, I worked my way into my early 20s, and nothing was really happening. No greatness was coming into my life, as you can appreciate.
just construction, yeah.
Just like the minimal amount of hours each day. I was out of there as quick as I could, no extra effort. But I was like, no, it's still going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said, got to my early 20s, and still nothing had changed, and like. I guess I started to get a little bit alarmed, and I was like, all right, well, nothing's really changing, nothing's really happening, and I really need to make this happen, right? And so, as a means, I guess, and a vehicle to create that life that I dreamt and I knew that I deserved, I started taking out loans, and I was like, all right, well, I need to get it now.
Get some money.
Right? I need to get some money because the status, power, I can buy some nice things, live a great life. Perfect.
You were single at the time as well?
Single at the time, single as hell, you know? And so bought a nice car first is where it started. As most young guys starts with a nice car. And
how old were you at the time?
I was at that point I would have been around about 21 or 22.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so going through that stage, a lot of my friends are buying nice cars and feeling the pressures of everyone. I'm like, all right, I need to, level up a little bit. So bought a nice car, and that's kind of where it started. Took a loan out for that, like around about $40,000.
Yeah.
And that was great, amazing. Loved the car, everything that it brought with it, the girls, everything else.
Yeah.
And my friends and I, we also rented like a massive mansion on the water, like 6 bedrooms, huge big media room, and incredible like parties every weekend. It was like
nice
rock star lifestyle at like
What inspired you to? Was it just Instagram or something that inspired you to do all that stuff?
Instagram wasn't that much of an influence at that time. I believe I was on it, but I wasn't. I just wanted, that really great life that I think I deserved. And I remember like walking into this mansion, like in full sense of the word, when we went and rented. It was like $1,400 a week, and us combined, we were making not very much money. We're like, we need this. We need this. We need to be, doing these big things. Like all of us boys who we agreed, this is the right step.
Yeah.
And so that obviously all our expenses escalated massively, and construction. I was doing an apprenticeship, working my way into like a kind of a site manager kind of role. So money was okay, but certainly not extraordinary. Very average, And so after about a year of that with the car, I kind of was like, I can't really make sense of these repayments now. So I was like, all right, well, what I'll do is I'll refinance the loan with an additional loan.
Okay. And
that will allow me to get a bit of a more competitive interest rate, lower the weekly repayments, and free up a little bit of my cash. And I was like, right, this will work well.
Okay.
So got another $40,000 out with the intention to pay out that existing, and of course everything went through with the bank fine, and then all the construction work just like dried up in Brisbane.
Damn.
So now I was like, no income.
Okay.
Right, no savings of course, because
Yeah.
I spend my money like a freak on the weekends.
Yeah.
And by that time, it was like a budding kind of drug addiction from partying every weekend.
Yeah.
And then now I've got no work.
Mm.
And so luckily, I've just got
storm,
this $40,000 that I've just taken out from the bank.
Yeah.
That I had in mind that would be used to pay out the other loan that I had.
Mm.
So I just was in the position where I've just had acquired an additional income, right? And I literally started using that to live.
Okay.
For an additional, like the most stupid decision I look back on now, and I'm like, how could you just use borrowed money, knowing that it's going to run out for that period of time?
It's funny how we do things like that when we're desperate, hey? Like we just take out loans just to try and patch up problems and stuff.
That's
man,
it.
You know, so.
Yeah, and I remember like thinking, because like the way that I had built things around, obviously the nice house, nice car, it's this massive like image that I'm creating, and I need to keep that expectation there. People are looking at me like, oh man, you've got your shit together. Sorry, I don't have to talk someone swear.
Yeah, go for it. Just be yourself.
And so naturally, I'm like, all right, I need to keep this together.
Yeah.
So the money, the loans, everything is trying to like, just as you said, patchwork things together.
Yeah.
And kind of got to the point where I just couldn't manage it. Now I'm like draining this other 40,000 down.
Yeah.
And got to the end of it, and I'm like, well, I don't have a job still. I don't have
no income.
And like things just really started to get really serious. And it kind of went into that whole drug world after that. Like obviously I was using it all the time, and one of my friends, he said, look, like you can do this and this, and you can make some money. And I was like, oh yeah, perfect. Like I need some money. I was getting really desperate now. My repayments like $1,000 a week. Yeah. Don't have any money coming in, and it just was getting desperate. And tried to go down that path and make some money in your questionable kind of avenues, and failed terribly, and just kind of fueled my addiction more. And to the point where things really just started to deteriorate. I was like, using drugs every day, and owing the banks money, tons of money by that stage, and credit cards, and then my friends, people around me, just tens of thousands of dollars. And I remember like just being in that position, and I was just thinking like, just looking around, like, how did I get here? How did I get myself to a place where like I'm screwed? I'm trying to refinance my loans, I'm trying to do this, and the bank's like, all right, well, we can do this and this, and we're going to spread your loans over an additional, whatever it was, 12 years. And I was going to be like 36 or 37 before I would look at paying that debt off. And I'm like 22, 23, and I'm like, I've just screwed myself so bad. And I just felt like, literally, like I was just like, what have you done? Like in the space of like 2 years of like partying, 2-3 years of partying, and acting cool for my friends. Gives me chills just thinking about it. I just like fucked myself, and it like just smashed me so hard, and I was like, God, just contemplating all these like dark thoughts and thinking about, how can I get out of this? And I kind of went to court as well because of all the drug associated things, and that coupled with the girl that I was dating at the time, she actually just pretty much packed up the whole house and then just left, and everything around me, like the relationship, like as I said, she left me, like family pretty much was really kind of rocky, and I felt so embarrassed to tell them, look, I'm a drug addict and I need some help. Like everything in the family was pretty tumultuous as well, so it was a hard time, and then I was just like, I felt very ashamed of everything I was doing, so I didn't want to bring it in or speak to anyone around me as well. So everything just really compounded into this situation where I was at the bottom of this hole, and I was just like, this is either going to like completely destroy me or And I remember kind of coming home, as I said, to our apartment, and just everything was empty, everything was gone, and I remember just having this kind of overwhelming realization, and it almost brought me back to those younger years where I was that narcissistic kind of guy who had those expectations of that grandiose life, and expecting things to happen and not working too hard. And it was as if like all the decisions that I made up to that point were just like clear to me, and I'm like, you've just been like the back seat. You've been in the back seat. You've been letting other people decide for you. All right, Sasha, you're going to start doing this now. All right, you need to act on this, and I'm going to pay you this amount per week, and this is what you're going to be given. and it was just like I had no control of anything. So as a result of that massive, catalyst and pressure and, everything falling apart, I just took it upon myself and had this like huge realization where I was like today, like this moment right fucking here, everything is going to be controlled by me. And I literally just like went freakishly to work on like my finances and my addictions and my relationships, mending things everywhere I could, like an animal, like it was like insane, like you get so pumped. And it started this automotive repair business, which is the main kind of income stream that was able to.
This was your business that you started? Okay, yeah.
And that was able to, allow me to repay all of my debt in 18 months. And,
Oh man, you started a business to pay off your debts,
That's
man.
it, yeah.
That's intense.
And so it was that coupled with like failing, and then I was like, I want to do something different, I want to start a business. And then even in my mind, I was like, but everything you've done has been a failure, but now you want to do something new and put yourself in more debt and probably risk it all again.
Yeah, that's scary.
And I'm like, but then I'm like looking at the other option that I have of sitting there and being safe and playing it safe for 12 years of repayments and just being up to my neck in debt. And I was like, I can't do it.
Okay.
So took that on, and within 18 months I paid everything back. And it was a really, really surreal kind of experience, because it was a conversation I had with my brother recently that kind of made me so aware of it. We were talking at a friend's birthday, and we sat down similar to like this. And he said, we've had a few drinks, and he's like, oh man, I really want to. He's my older brother, and I always look up to him, and we have different lives, but I always like respect him a lot. And he's like, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, yeah.
So what is it?
So and he's like, remember when you were, down in that low point in your life, and when things were falling apart around you? Remember when everything was fucked?
I'm
like, 100% remember it.
Yes, I replay that every day, mate.
And it was literally, I was like, I certainly do. And he said, man, like he's kind of like, I'm sorry, like to say, but he's like, I honestly had written you off. He's like, I never thought you'd come back from that. And I was just like, holy shit. And I was like hearing that from my brother, and like listening to him and seeing that he even himself had looked at me and been like, well, like he's gone. And even for me, I was like sitting there, I'm like, holy shit, like it's insane. And then he said, but to see what you're doing now, like a little boy, grew up in a town of 3,000 people, went through this massive drug addiction, lost pretty much everything. And now to see what you're doing, the properties you own, the businesses you own, and the people you're doing business with now, he's just like, oh, I couldn't be any more proud of you. And just like, hearing that from him, like obviously being a close brother and competitive and stuff like that, but hearing him say like, how much he had lost all belief in me for one was just like shattering, but then at the same time, he's like, it was the ultimate compliment, and it brought me so close to him as well, like hearing that as well. So it was, insane experience, man. This past 5 years has been unbelievable.
Oh man, appreciate you sharing that, man. It's like very heartfelt.
Oh, it is.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm just curious, like, what was that moment where you had that moment of clarity, and you decided, nah, that's it. Like, I'm curious, what happened at that moment? Did you was there something that triggered you to turn it around or something? Was it just looking at all the bills that you had to pay, or was it a quote, or was it some sort of music, or what was it that just one day you just woke up and said, that's it? Like, what was it?
That's a really good question. And I honestly think that it was just having no other option.
So you're pushed against the wall, right?
Everything was exhausted, and I often will do that to myself now in a positive sense. Like I'll put myself into a position where I have no choice but to follow through on what I've said. So for me, it was like, by my terrible decisions I made compounded, put myself, like, I had no option. I was literally like, all right, well, I'm either gonna be homeless almost essentially and be broke for the next 10 to 15 years, or I double down and just give one last hope, one last, like, my everything to this to this vehicle that I decided to do. And for me, I guess I'm not sure if it was how that decision was made, but I think it was almost like a primal, like fuck this, like I'm not, I can't be the victim of my entire life, you know. I can't have, and being in construction as well, you see people all around you and you see their kind of futures, and that was my future essentially. So I was seeing like site managers, which was a role I was potentially going to work towards.
Yep.
I'm seeing them and they're like 35, 40 years old, and they're complaining about money, they're hating themselves, they're hating their family, they never see their kids, and they don't get paid very, and I was just like, that's not the option, you know. And not only am I going to be in that position, but I'm going to be in that position with this massive debt as well. So I was like, there needs to be another way. And it was a means of just giving myself no other option really, like just exhausting everything to the point where I was like fuck it, that's it.
That's it. So that pain was just enough for you to just pull yourself out, right? Just do whatever it takes. So what exactly did you do? Did you just like start looking at things and just looking at, okay, this is what I got to pay off, you know, and I got to get a job now, I got to get some income. Is that what you did?
It was exactly, it was just like action on everything, because, you know. So
you took massive action, right?
Massive, like on everything. It was just like, all right, well, I didn't have an income, like I need like in the immediate right now, something to begin making payments, right?
Okay.
And I was like, I just started applying for like hundreds of jobs.
Okay.
You know, anything and everything, within obviously the construction space, but like anything above and beyond what I had done, you know, these roles of new projects of managing a site of, you know, $15 million, 25 million, and I was like, I'm going to try and do it. Like, I'm doing it. And then I just went out, just applying, went to interviews, like just did everything in my power, and then like, you know, landed one position here, one there. And then I was like, well, okay, this is still just getting me by. And then I kind of heard about this opportunity, you know, in this automotive repair space that I work in, and then it was like completely foreign to me, completely out of my comfort space entirely, you know, construction background for 5, 6, 7 years. And then it's like, well, let's try something else. You know, this is the potential to flip things around like that.
Okay. So maybe because I can, like, your story is actually is very similar to what other people have gone through as well. Right? They're stuck in drugs. They're drinking every weekend or every night, right? And so just quickly, what advice would you give to these people in order to pull themselves out like you did? Like just
from the drugs and the partying.
How to like turn it all around. You know, people in debt and stuff like that. How did you? What advice would you give to these people who've gone through the same thing?
That's a really good question, and it's something that only people who have been through it will understand the kind of the weight of that situation. Because when you do have a drug addiction, and when you do have nothing but you getting high on your mind, it's incredibly consuming. Like, all you think about is that. It takes that much of a precedent in your mind that it's just like, that's all you want. So it's very difficult to, unless someone's experienced it themselves, it's quite difficult to be able to actually relate to efficiently. But in terms of getting out of it, it's
hard to get out of it.
It is
to pull yourself out of that ugly situation, you know, and turn it around. How did you? You know,
for me, it was the biggest thing was making like similar to what Tom Bilyeu, one of my role models as well. He says like a bright line. It's just like, and I had done it so many times in the past, and I said, this is the day. Like, this is the day where I'm stopping. But it was as if like when I said it, and it's funny because what happened was like my ex-girlfriend, she actually came back to the house and she picked up a couple of last things. I remember I was in the house and I was actually like intoxicated, and she came back and then she was looking at me, and I just had this just fire come into me, and I was just like, I'm gonna be successful as fuck. And it was literally, I just went bam, and it just smashed me like nothing else I've felt, and it was as if something just went and changed me. And when I said that to her, she just laughed at me, obviously because I'm high, and she's got no reason to believe me. But like in that moment, it was as if just like this just went shift, and I was like, I'm actually a man of my fucking word, and I'm gonna follow what I say from this day onwards. And it was like this shift, and I guess creating that in people, you know, this is why we'll get into the morning routine and things later on. But that's kind of why I do a lot of things on a daily basis that kind of test me and challenge me and keep me in check. Because I feel like left out of check, people and me even included will just slip back into that comfort and that ease and that, you know, who knows, life of, you know, potential whatever I was doing in the past, you know. So
okay, sounds like I'm not sure whether that can be replicated, like to burn your bridges and stuff, but it sounds like you got to go to that point where you pushed against the wall and then that's it. One day I'm gonna.
But I think in the immediate, for someone like, if you're in that position, like the biggest thing was for me, I had everyone around me was doing it.
Yeah.
It was commonplace. It was everywhere. Everywhere, you know, friends would come over and we just end up doing it.
Yeah.
So like, as hard as it is to say, you know, it is one of those things that your friends and your circle you associate with becomes you.
Yeah.
And distancing yourself from people who are bringing that into your life and making it common.
Yeah.
I believe it's probably a quick way to pull yourself out if you do have if you're not pressured enough through that, you know, tall poppy kind of syndrome of your friends being like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, just do something.
Yeah, it's very common. You know?
So doing that right now is probably something, you know, just reaching out to people, you know, that's kind of why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, so I can be someone that people can reach out to and be like, look, man, I've seen what you've done, like, help me.
Were you reading any books at the time or anything? Or were you?
No, I wasn't.
You were just doing purely through your mind.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy. Okay. All right. So you just briefly mentioned before about the morning routine.
Yes.
And man, I saw you know, your Instagram stories, and man, you're waking up at 3 o'clock every morning. Just like it's still nighttime. And, I'm up at like, you know, 5:30. This guy's already up at 3 a.m. I don't know how you do it. Honestly, I've been trying. I bought the book 5 a.m. before 5 a.m. and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just curious. How do you get so motivated, and what's your routine in waking up? You know, 3 o'clock in the morning, because I know you've got a program out there.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us, like, how did you like, what's your routine in terms of waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and what's your mindset behind it?
That's really good.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is waking up. I think waking up at that time, and for me, I'll reverse it a little bit. So I believe that during the day, the morning time is probably the time in like throughout the entire day where your confidence and your self-esteem is probably at its lowest, right? You haven't really achieved very much. You haven't completed any tasks. You know, you're kind of just waking up and you're like, all right, well, I've got a lot to do today. You've got a lot of things ahead of you. So, especially like being, you know, business people, entrepreneurs, there's a whole day ahead of you. You've probably got things stacked up. Everything's like lined up, but you get to complete anything.
Yeah.
So like I always think that if you can get a head start on, whether if you frame it as your competitors or if you're literally just waking up, and I do it like because...
Is that what drives you, competition?
I believe a part of it is competition, which is like an egotistical kind of element to it, but there's also just a part of me doing it because it's hard. I do it because like every bit of my body just wants to stay in bed.
Yeah.
You want to just be like, no, I'm not ready yet. I need more sleep. I check my Oura ring, and it tells me I need more sleep, and I'm like, am I going to listen to this device? Like, who's controlling this? I'm controlling it. And so it's just like, you know, when you wake up and my fiance's next to me, she's sleeping, and it's warm and snug, and every bit of you
it's
is
so hard to leave bed, man.
It is, and you're like, just roll over, man. Like no one, and the thing is, no one's gonna know.
Yeah.
No one will know.
That's true. Yeah.
But the greatest part of it is you get up, you know, I do my meditation.
So then you do your meditation. Okay.
Yeah. I do my meditation for like an hour, like minimum.
An hour.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's, and it's interesting because at the moment I'm sleeping less, like for about 5 hours.
Okay.
And I believe right now during the meditation, it's, if you can get into the right state of your meditation, it's similar. You're in like that theta brainwave state, which is where, you know, all the DNA repair, the cell repair, all those kind of like the high levels of growth hormone are released in your body.
Yeah. Okay.
So what you're doing is you're intentionally through that meditative state replicating, you know, that theta brainwave state achieved through sleep.
Yeah.
But you're controlling it, you know what I mean? And so by doing that, the meditation, obviously, I believe it's a much more positive effect than just sleeping like unconscious kind of sleep. I'm consciously sitting there and I'm setting my intention for the day. I'm priming my mind. I'm giving my body the extra sleep and healing, I guess, that it needs, as well as just maintaining that discipline. You know, whether it's sitting there without moving for an hour. You know, that's even that in itself. We're constantly like active and distracted all the time. To control your impulses for an hour is like a task in itself.
So it's just pure meditation. There's no apps or anything, no guided meditation.
It is guided meditation. I'm a real advocate of Joe Dispenza's meditations.
I use Headspace at the moment, but not Joe's one. So
no, I'll definitely look at send you some after.
Cool.
He's incredible. But Headspace is great. And I think you probably experienced it as well. You know, it's quite easy to sit for like 10 minutes and then
your mind just wanders.
Your back starts hurting, and you're like, oh. But then the greatest part of it is like if you can just begin to train your mind again and again and again, like it's like I'm in control and that back pain is not real. It's like a habit that, you know, me sitting here upright like this every morning, it's like, oh, well, your back's starting to hurt now. Time to get up. Time to get a coffee. Time to get, you know, let's get it moving. And it's just like a routine. So for me, that's meditation is a massive part of my morning.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So and obviously, like, when did you start like your meditation? Like, it seems like this has really impacted your life, like your morning routine and stuff. How long have you been doing this for?
So this has been now 4 years now. 4 years. 4 years, 3.5 years, I would say.
Okay.
Again, similar, like, you know, you said, like, I used to just sit on my bed for like 5 minutes and then just try and meditate, and my mind would be just like going wild everywhere.
It's like a monkey mind, isn't it?
It is.
It's a monkey jumping around, but you can't control it, but just have to just guide it back to the seat. You know?
That's it. It is. And I think the thing that really changes that whole meditation game is when you do have an experience that is indescribable. You know, if you have something like a transcendental out-of-body experience where you are able to achieve that through meditation, you realize that it's much more than me just trying to sit here and quieten the monkey mind. You know, so it becomes obviously a massive discipline, but it's actually like you're actually like exploring. Like it's literally like, let's see where I can take this morning. You know, so that's
1 hour, man. That's amazing. Amazing. All right. So the next part is personal branding. So I noticed that your Instagram profile, you're at about 50,000 followers, and it's not just, I know it's not paid or anything because everyone's actually proper commenting and they're liking all your posts and stuff.
That's right.
So for other people who are listening or watching, like what advice would you give them in terms of building their following? And I think you did it in a short period of time as well.
Yeah, it has been. I've just really been active and driving. I recognised really, when was it, at the start of this year, I believe, at the end of last year, I kind of picked back up because I deleted my Instagram completely. I had a pretty large following around about 4 years ago, and due to, you know, the mindset and the state that I was in, causing some issues with my relationship, I deleted it. And I was like, all right, I don't need this right now. It's causing issues, so deleted it, and, you know, really started rebuilding it as of, you know, at the end of last year, I believe, sometime. And I guess the changes in that whole platform became really evident to me. You know, in the past, I would make a post and I would just get tons of like followers and reaction and comments and interaction, engagement. But the way it is now, it's very much structured as a business. You know, people are coming on there, they're monetizing their accounts, they're monetizing their followings, and it's much harder to grow a following. So
because a lot of competition is pretty saturated at the moment.
It is. That's right. But, you know, seeing at the same time how so Instagram's gone from like 1 billion users, not Instagram, sorry, social media's gone from like 1 billion users to like now, I think it's like 3-something billion users in the space of like 4 years or something. So it's exponentially exploded, and seeing that growth, it's like, well, this is not going away. You know, so to develop a strong presence on there, and I guess first of all, kind of establishing what you're trying to achieve through your account. You know, it's like, what am I trying to achieve, or what are you trying to achieve? Like, set that up, and it's like, all right, well, all my messaging and all my branding needs to be developed around that. So all your posts are all congruent with, like, whether you are the self-development guy or you are the podcast extraordinaire, and everything fits with that, so that, you know, the people visiting your account, they're like, all right,
this guy knows his shit. His content's epic. He's posting 3 times a week consistently. Things are amazing value. Active in the story all the time. They're getting some quality from the story all the time.
Yeah.
And then just engaging with other people as well. And I guess, seeing that and just being like actually genuine, not going out there with scripted messages and trying to that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. I don't think it works. Like I really don't. I think
you're very genuine, aren't you?
Yeah, I try and really
just say whatever you want to say.
That's it. I try and not paint any false imagery or false pictures of myself or any weird shit. It's just like me. Like if I'm viewing someone's story, I'll be like, man, this is amazing. Boom. Yeah,
that's good.
I love it. I'm not like, oh well, I'm going to try and copy that idea. You know what I mean? It's like I just give out. If I see something great, I'll just recognize it immediately. And I'm like that with people across the board. If people are in my day-to-day life, I'm like, I love your shoes. I love what you're wearing, mate. Nice suit, And it's something that I had a story. When was it? A couple of weeks ago now. And what happened was I went to the supplement store to grab a couple of things and walked in there, and I'd just been just going to train, and I felt like a bit jacked and staunch, and I was kind of holding on to that ego bodybuilder kind of a stigma that I had, and I was like walking in there. There was 2 guys, and they're really helpful, really nice, and I was just like, oh yeah, what's up guys? Like really like kind of egotistical. And then I went into the gym next door, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm like messaging and replying to all the people interacting on my page, and I'm like, yeah, thanks bro, thanks so much. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, you're messaging people here in America and Perth and here and there, and you're being nice and courteous and like kind to these people, but you just went and interacted with 2 people across the road, and you were a fucking dick to them. And I packed up my shit and went straight back across the road, and I'm like, look boys, I'm like, you guys are absolute legends. You know your shit so well. You're doing such a good job in the store. You provided me so much quality information. I'd love to have you at my event. Please check it out. Here's some information. Here's a discount code. Come along. And I was like, I caught myself like that, and I'm like, it's so easy to sit on your phone and detach. Oh yeah, awesome. I love what you're wearing. But like doing that in your everyday life, it's like I said, congruency,
authenticity, right?
On that page, in your real life, across the platforms. That's what people see and they resonate. They're like, this guy's genuine. It's not like he's just putting on this persona on his page, but when I see him in real life, he's a dick. So that's probably something that keeping that in mind and being able to paint that same image across all your platforms or in real life, everything. That's something that people and your following pick up on very, very strongly as well.
You're really good with that. I noticed that you're really genuine, you're authentic with your messages and stuff, and people are definitely commenting, they're engaging with your content and stuff, so that would be like the tip, right? Just to be genuine, be authentic, and just be
congruent across everything. And
okay. And what about posting? How many times do you post?
Just consistency as well with the posting. Like I'm probably, just because of my schedule at the moment, my feed posts are not probably as consistent as they need to be, but I'm always active in the story, so it's kind of something where people can just check in and see what I'm up to, and I think that's something on a personal level where they're like, oh, let's just see what Sasha's doing. What time did he get up today? And it's just like, oh, cool. And I think that's probably something that is important, to have that story always active. People can check in, oh yeah, what are you up to today, and just have it as a journey, not as just this quote, this mad picture, me in a sweet car, like, so people can see.
It's so plastic, isn't it? It's just really fake, man.
It is, and so it's like,
connection there.
Good morning, what's up, guys? I'm doing this. Here's my breakfast. This is what I'm doing here. I'm doing this. I'm going through some hardship here. This is what I'm experiencing. Challenge here.
You're pretty transparent, aren't you?
And it's just like that. And people, oh man, it's.
I like the one that you did. I think you just finished the gym. Like, you're probably like, high on endorphins or something. Like, fucking get back to work. I love that one. I'm like, okay, Sash, I'll do that. That's good, You probably got a lot of like good likes on that one.
See, but it's also like, I always try and mix it up a little bit as well. Not just be that screaming guy who's telling you get the fuck back to work. Be that guy, but then also be like, look, man, like, this is me. I have these same problems as well. So people are like, oh well, okay. So,
all right. So, in terms of motivating people and stuff, you also have an event coming up, right? So and you also own like Push Peak. I think it's a company to help people with their personal development and
right.
achieve potential, right?
Yeah.
And this event is with Jordan Belfort.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, probably firstly, how did you get to know Jordan as well? Like, I think we were in Miami at the time or something, and you were in Mastermind. Or how did you
That's an interesting, and it's funny because I always like my previous story kind of alluded to, like if I'm doing something, I'll go really fast with it. Like I flipped around pretty quickly in an 18-month period. I've done this. I bought several properties, like fast. And this whole event and everything with Jordan is a complete illustration of that as well. So what it was, like end of March this year, I was looking to learn some new sales material, sharpen up my influence and my ability to sell and speak effectively to people. Yeah. And I had done some other sales training before, never really got that much value out of it. I was like, it's good. I definitely take some information pieces from it, but I was like, it's not that great. And picked up Jordan's book, The Way of the Wolf, his latest book, and I was just like, this is something else. Like this is a completely different way of selling and communicating. The whole fact of if someone says no, it's like, well, okay, we're not going to go and slam them and continue, following them. It's like, okay, well, if they're clearly not a buyer, we're not going to pursue them. Like all these little different things, and then the human psychology elements as well, like how the neuro-linguistic programming and some of those things that are. Some people may say like hocus pocus, but I believe they're kind of undeniable truths of human interaction. Yeah. So all those elements just really captivated me. I read the book like 7 times, I think it was, in the space of 2 weeks, just like back to back. I was just like, I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. And I obviously started applying things into my life and my business, and things really started to click, and it was working really well. So I was like, okay, I need a little bit more of this, and checked out his online program, which was like.
The straight line persuasion.
No, it was only his it was his Wolf Pack one. It's like $99 for a year, and you get like daily motivation videos, and then each week there's like a Q&A training session where he will do like script building, for example. Okay, cool. And jumped on that. Amazing, tons of value, like so much. I'm like, okay, well the book checks out, the online training checks out, and then I got an email from his sales manager, now one of my friends as well, in the States, and he's like, look, we've got a exclusive mastermind, with Jordan, and limited to 10 business people and entrepreneurs. Okay. And they were really upfront about the price of the weekend, because I guess to filter out people who were like, well, that's not for me. And for me, one of the things that I was looking to do this year particularly was really level up my circle, because I was kind of beginning to feel as though my immediate friends and people around me were,
they're not really into all that stuff, right?
They're not, and they're just like, I was a little bit of like the biggest fish in the pond thing, and I was like, I need to get around some high level people. And I had been really focusing on that a lot this, started this year, end of last year, and I was like, all I hear from some of my friends is like, well, you're doing so well, like, I love what you're doing. It's like compliment, and it doesn't do anything for, that continual growth. It makes you complacent and comfortable. So I was like, I need, a bigger circle. And this was like, presented itself, and I've been saying to myself, well, you want a bigger circle? I'm like, are you up for it? Yeah. It's in front of you. Yeah. So I was like, well, let's do it. So I committed to doing it, invested a considerable amount of money in that weekend, went to Beverly Hills, it was in June, the start of June, so it was like end of March, April, May, June, like in the space of reading the book to going to his mastermind was 8 weeks, 9 weeks. Okay. So obviously watched the movie prior to that, knew who he was, but literally from the moment of enjoying his book to sitting in his house across the table from him was like 8 weeks.
Oh shit.
And I was sitting there, I'm like, wow.
What the hell is going on? Yeah. Jeez.
So it's like that, so quick.
So quick.
Yeah. And one of the biggest questions I had for Jordan at the start of the weekend, I said, look, I really want to develop my brand in Australia and separate myself within the Australian market as a leader. And he said, okay, I've got a few good ideas that we can do after this mastermind, and we'll keep in touch. And I was like, yeah, awesome, sounds good. And we kind of were talking obviously more and more. Everything weekend was incredible, got like tons of value. And towards the end of the weekend, he kind of pulled me aside into one of these private rooms with his manager, and he was like, look, like, I've been thinking a lot about you, and I've been thinking a lot about how we can do this with you in Australia. I really want to help you. I want to get behind what you're doing.
This is with his manager, right?
Yeah, and we were talking, and he said like, I believe in what you're doing, and I think the best way to do it was if we hold some events together.
Wow.
And I was just like,
oh shit. Okay. Okay, what do I do next?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and as anything I have done in the past is like, kind of say yes and figure the rest out later.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like, and I was like, let's do it. You know, so committed to it, and in the past, what has it been now? It's June. You know, so 2 months again. You know, in 10 weeks, I've been logistically putting together everything to do with these events. You know, Sydney and Melbourne, 1,200 people each.
Yeah.
Venue. So
okay. All right then. And what's going to be covered in that event?
Yeah, awesome question. This is something that I'm really excited to share because one,
you're going to be speaking, obviously.
I'm going to be speaking. Obviously, I'm going to be sharing my story and my training and my material. And one thing that troubles me a little bit about the self-development industry, and I've shared this opinion with several of the people in my circle at the moment, is the fact of going to an event and you commit and you pay X amount of dollars to be there and to be learning material, and you kind of get broad material, really general, and then you get a massive hook into an upsell program.
True. Yeah.
And like for someone who's been to many events before, seeing that model just done again and again and again gets really old, and I kind of like sitting in an audience and having it done to 3, 4, 5, 6 times over. You're just like,
so it's not a pitch fest, right?
It's like, come on, man, really, like I'm here to learn sales, I'm here to learn business, I'm here to learn marketing.
I love that.
Can we just teach these people what they're here to learn? Obviously, different people are on different levels, and there will be an offer made in a way that's just like, well, for the people who are serious about taking this further, there's something additional. Check it out later. Right now, we're here to give you the 100% straight line system, along with my complete principles and tactics that have allowed me to go from my $130,000 in debt to where I am now. And that's the main focus of mine with this event, is to create an atmosphere and a different learning experience for people to come, and you better fucking bring your notepad because it's going to be jam-packed. And it's with that in mind. Like, I want to create something different where it's a learning environment. It's not a pitch fest.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's going to be a very different spin.
Yeah. I think we're having a conversation about this prior to the podcast. The importance of sales, right? Like you can't. It's not, a lot of people when they think about selling, it's not about just like selling a car or something. It's actually selling ideas. You're persuading people to attend an event.
That's right.
So what advice would you give to someone who wants to be better at sales? Obviously attend an event, but then like to learn about closing and manage objections and stuff.
Definitely. Well, number one, obviously, I would say for anyone in Australia, I resonate very, very strongly with the teachings that Jordan puts out, and I firmly believe that his material is the best in the world. To take someone who knows nothing about sales, and if you literally do nothing but follow the steps provided in his platform, you will be very competent at selling.
Okay.
So number one, I would say find someone that you resonate with and you click with, and their material fits with how you learn, and follow it. Like honestly, just follow it, because that's probably for me, like I said, I tested a few different salespeople, Dan Locke, Grant Cardone, here and there, and I was just like,
you got to resonate with the person.
Exactly. And so finding that person that you click with, and also ensuring that their material is very high quality.
Yeah.
That's probably an amazing starting point for someone looking to better their sales skills. And like for me, obviously, maybe biased around Jordan, but I believe that his stuff is the best. I've tested a lot of different things, and from what I've seen from his material, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Cool.
Absolutely.
So it's all about resonating with the right person, and then just if you like the quality content, just go through it.
And obviously the results need to be there. If you're practicing their material, their closing strategies, and nothing's working, then
awesome.
get the fuck out of there.
Cool. I noticed that in your Instagram and your social media, like you're doing a lot of fitness, right? And I think that's really important in terms of you need to generate the energy to go out there and take lots of action and everything, and conquer the world. So,
that's right.
Can you give us an idea about your fitness routine and some of the tips that you have to give other people to, eat healthy.
Of course,
and stuff.
yeah. Well, for me, I always, even when I was younger, I thought that I was healthy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I really started doing my own research within, like health itself, what foods are good and, what I should be eating for my genetic kind of code as well, like doing like genome testing and things like that.
Yeah.
It gives you the ability to really tailor the foods you eat and what you don't eat, and windows of fasting and things like that into and understand, like, all right, well, I actually understand how this food affects my body. And then also the exercise part of it as well is a very big one for me, because as you know yourself, you probably train and after the gym you feel energized, all the blood circulating, everything's moving, you feel empowered, so my exercise routine at the moment, and has been like this for a while, is like I'll do my, wake up, do my meditation, drop straight into that, about an hour, and then I will generally, have some, like supplements and nutrients for my body, and then I'll usually do about like an hour of emails, responding to back and forth communications a little bit from the previous night, just getting on top of things.
Okay.
That takes me, from 4 to 5 a.m. kind of thing.
Yep.
Most times, and then after that, I'll go straight to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's obviously I'll take some kind
Do you
of...
follow a program in terms of like the weight training and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I mainly base it around like resistance movements, functional movements, some body weight exercises, and I do get into a yoga studio.
So you do yoga?
Not as much as I would like to, but I definitely think it's a great practice, and it kind of really coincides with the meditation aspect as well. It's amazing for your mind as well, what it can do.
What about high intensity stuff? Do you do any high intensity, like boxing or?
No, I don't do. In terms of like staying in shape, I would say the main thing I do is just fasting.
It's fasting.
Yeah.
You do fasting, okay.
Yeah. So like if I feel myself getting a little bit out of shape or slipping a little bit, I'll just won't eat for a day or 2 days or 3 days, and
whoa, that's intense, man.
Whip myself back into shape pretty quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's another thing, that's another, goes back into that discipline and you being in control here. It's I don't need this food. Like, it's sitting right there, it smells amazing, but I don't need to eat it. And still being able to function like
I noticed that there's a type of people who like to be motivated to push forward, right? Be motivated, but for you tend to look at obstacles and challenges and try and do some sort of mind technique to try and overcome it. So, going back to your story about you were in debt and you've gone through all that drugs and stuff like that, but you pulled yourself out of it. Like, that was a challenge. And another one was also, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Can I beat this?
Yeah.
That you're just really driven like that.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's what drives you. Yeah.
It is. It's the challenge, and it's the experience of doing something that, somewhat to my detriment, doing things that I have no idea about, and putting myself, like I've said in the past, outside of my comfort zone, in over my head, in an environment where I have no idea. Yeah. This event being a perfect example. I went from having zero knowledge about how to run an event, promote an event, put people into a stadium, ticket an event, pay for a venue, like every single thing associated with it. Zero knowledge 2 months ago to now holding 2,500 people. It's just like, what? Like,
it looks like you were just thinking big. You think big, and then all of a sudden see an opportunity, you attacked it. And then, holy shit, I got to figure out how to get this to work.
Well, that's the very important thing as well. It does need to be, and it can destroy people pretty quickly if they go, oh yeah, cool, I'm going to try something big. Yeah. And they do nothing. You will go bankrupt really quickly. So as long as and then that's where the discipline and having the integrity, sticking to your word, knowing that I'm the type of person that if I commit to this, I'm going to follow through with everything I fucking have. So it's like becoming that person first, then being able to commit to things way outside your comfort zone, with the knowing that I'm going to follow through, and I'm going to deliver. You know what I mean? It's like building that first, and then now I'm going to go psycho and grow like a freak by committing myself out here somewhere. So that's kind of how I've positioned myself. Okay.
If
that makes sense.
Nice. If there was one piece of advice you would give to someone, what would it be? Considering that all everything that you've been through, you went through the debt, the drugs, you pulled yourself out, you're organising a big event now, you're working with Jordan Belfort. Looking back, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to someone?
One piece.
Or many pieces.
Yeah. I would say, going back to what we said about the Instagram and socials, things like that, finding your own voice and your own kind of message. And it's a struggle, I think, for a lot of people, because we like to, if you see someone you like, you'll try and copy them, and then you become a little bit of them, and then you can become a little bit of this person over here, and you like what this guy posts. So I think if you can become familiar with, and this is why I love the meditation practice, because it's in that space, you're unimpeded by any stimulus, there's no information coming into your mind, and it's an opportunity to become familiar with yourself. The voices in your head, everything going on there behind the scenes that no one else is interrupting. It's you by yourself. And I think through that experience, and if you can take the experiences that you have, for me it's through my meditation a lot, and translate that into whether it's content you produce, messaging you produce, people you interact with, and formulate that into your brand. Like, it's, for me, that's something that I see now to be really important. Having a personal brand in a way that is authentically you, without being, three other people and losing your own sense of self. And then one other thing I probably would say is to invest in yourself. Like, invest in, like me doing this event right now is a result of me investing in myself considerably, and I now see it giving me the ability to, for 400th of the price that I paid, people can come and learn what I learned from Jordan, for a fraction of the price. So I paid a lot of money to go one-on-one with him, and now what I've been able to do is I'm saying, look guys, you can come and learn what I've learned from this man for a fraction of the price. So people valuing themselves enough to be like, this is the most important thing. If I can invest into this vehicle, I'll become someone who is super valued,
So it will pay off dividends when you invest in yourself.
And it does an interesting thing as well, like me investing that amount of money in myself, not only did it give me the ability to be in proximity to Jordan and these like 10, 20, 50, $100 million business people, but it also does a certain thing for your own internal self-esteem. You become a person who is worth X amount of money in one weekend. You're like, how would that person look? How would that person feel if I was to spend 10, 20, 30 grand on myself in one weekend? What am I going to do with that information? How am I going to best leverage that into my business? What am I going to actually take? You know what I mean? So you see things very differently when you go and spend a considerable amount in one hit. You're like,
because you value it a lot more, isn't it?
Exactly.
You've got skin in the game. So,
exactly. So invest in yourself and become very familiar with your own personal brand. I would say,
Awesome.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay, great. All right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Really
Thanks a lot.
it.
We appreciate your time, man.
Awesome.
So how can people get in contact with you and the events as well? How can they register to the event and get in contact with you? Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm probably most active on Instagram, I would say. So probably jump over to my Instagram. It's just Sasha_Karabut on Instagram. So check me out on there. And in terms of the events, like I said, Sydney the 9th of October, Melbourne the 10th, and I'll look after all your listeners with a bit of a discount code as well. So
nice.
We'll post it in the comments.
Awesome.
And I hope to see all you guys there. It should be an awesome show.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it, man.
Pleasure, brother.
Cheers,
Awesome.
man. Nice. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right. That's a wrap.
Nice work.
Done.
Right,